Got the spring in today, so we're ready to put the last rocker in. I was looking at the connection point here with the rocker and the valve stem, and you can see that's just touching on the outside of the valve there. Like, I don't know if I could shim it over a little bit, if that's what you're supposed to do. I don't know. Don't want that spring to be too tight on the inside, there'd be too much wear. The two exhaust ones, they're pretty much dead center. Move this over. You know, they're lined up pretty good. But that intake one, not too happy with the way that lines up. Not too sure what I can do about that. If anybody has any ideas, send me a message there. And I know I can shim it, but is that what you do? You just shim it over a little bit? I'm not sure. I'm going to put this one in and see how it lines up first. Well, I didn't wait for a response. I just, there was 2 extra shims, and maybe that's why there was 2 extra shims. So I put them in here, and that lines up a lot better now. Yeah, that must be what they were for. And there's still play, side to side play on this one. So I'm going with that for now. One thing about that, you can always change or fix on the bike later if I have to. It must be just in the casting of the rocker that's offset a little bit, and that's probably why there was 2 shims in there. Well, I think I'm just about ready to bolt the head on. I'm going to get all the studs and the nuts cleaned up first, and get ready to put this on. I know the tricky part's the push rods. It's really tricky, from what I read, to get them all lined up at the exact same time. But let me get that set up, and that's what I'm up against next. I did a dry fit here, loosened the valves right off. Didn't put the head gasket in yet, just I wanted to see if it was even possible to do it this way. You know, I think ideally you put the push rods in, bolt the head in, and then maybe put the rocker shafts in one at a time. When the cam lobes are down, you could do cylinder number 1 and cylinder number 2, and just do one at a time that way. This way is kind of tricky, but I guess guys do it this way, with all 4 push rods sticking out of the head, sticking out of the cylinders, and then try to put the head on and get them all located. You can see them. You can just barely see them in there. The exhaust one's easy enough to see in the top left corner there. I don't know if the camera is going to catch that or not. The intake one down below is harder to get lined up. And yeah, I don't know if you can see it in this light here. But the exhaust ones you can check to see if they're seating in there properly. The intake ones are a little trickier. It took me about 15 minutes just to get it on like a rough fit, just to see how that's going to work. So now I'm going to try the real fit there with the gaskets and torque it, and what's I'm going to do next. 2 longer push rods. The exhaust ones are in the center, the intake shorter ones are on the outside. You can feel when you push them in there. I put a little dab of engine lubricant, assembly stuff on the bottom here. It's got a little bit of graphite into it. And when you fit it into here, you can feel it kind of sucks right into that lifter, and you can actually, you can pull the lifter up and down. You can feel it. You can feel the whole lifter sliding up and down. So you know you've got it in there when it's located in that lifter. It sucks right into there, so you know you got it in there. Next, head gasket. A lot of people say don't put any kind of gasket sealer on the head gasket. If you're using the copper gasket, I'm going to use the material gasket, steel reinforced. Ideally, I don't have any. I've been looking everywhere for it. I would normally put copper coat on here. Copper coat's a real fine film, sticky film, has little flakes of copper in it, and the idea behind that is when you torque it down, it squishes the copper. It's just an extra layer of a sealant there, gasket sealant. But I'm going to go ahead and just stick it on plain like this. I think they're all in except for this one intake one. It's going to be a pain. This one too. I got a little hook there and trying to grab the push rod, and gotta lift the head up a little bit. That one's good. Exhaust is good. The other exhaust is good. That's it. Gonna put the head bolts in. Clean them all up. I think all the head bolts and nuts and stuff like that, they're all in the, even the side covers up here, they're all nickel plated, so they clean up pretty nice. I'm gonna get that all ready to be torqued and get back to you. Before I torque it down, I could turn the crank over here. I want to run it through and make sure they're all opening and closing properly, that none of the push rods have slipped off. And you can see them there. There, this one's going down. And I'm turning it in the direction of the engine's rotation here, counterclockwise. Everything looks good. They're all turning over good. I'll finish putting the rest of the bolts in and torque them up. I got my little pressure tank filled up about half full of oil. Put some air pressure in it. I'm going to try to bleed the purge the crank of air and fill it up with oil. I'm hoping it'll drain out of the drain plug when after it's full. Might have run out of air here. Let's see. Yeah, I've run out of air. I got to go back and get some more air pressure in this. One sec. Want to fill up that cavity in the crank. And hopefully it'll start dripping out of the drain plug when it's full. It's going in. Coming up pretty slow. Got the timing cover on. The new seals in. Got the crank journal pressurized with oil. It seemed to hit the max and then started backing up and dripping out the oil pump side over here. So I'm pretty sure that's full. I snugged up all the cylinder head bolts. I didn't torque them in yet because I'm missing a couple washers for these two long bolts here. So I just snugged it for now so that the gasket's seated evenly. And this timing cover, it's a little tricky to get on without fucking up that timing seal. I just put this cover on loose for now. I don't have the points or the pickup in there for the electronic ignition. But it's a little tricky getting that cover on. You got to get 3 shafts lined up. You got to get it over the seal. The seal, it's... and I'm going to tell you right now, it pays to get a good quality seal for the timing side, for the end of the crank, and for the points. The steel reinforced seals. I put the cheaper ones in. I may have to replace them at some point. Because when you try to put it on here, the little spring wants to pop off all the time. But anyways, it's all together. These are all torqued in. And put the pressure relief valve in. And I just put these on here loose for now because the oil was backing up out of here once I got all the oil in there. But when I put it into the frame, I'll take this off when I put it in the frame. So that's it. It's just about together. It's getting pretty close. I'll finish torquing it off tomorrow.